This is adding and subtracting polynomials. So make sure you know what standard form is. I'm not going to test you on that. I want you to be able to write your answers in standard form. Everything in the book will be written in standard form and answer-wise. As I go through this, I will write the answers in standard form. Write your own definition. So I expect you to have a definition here for what standard form is. Leading coefficient, you can read that. Remember that if you just see an x, it means 1x, or minus x is negative 1x. So we're going to combine like terms. We're going to use addition of the opposite. Okay, so I'm going to show you some different ways to do this. As we look at number 1, we see we have an addition problem. So in this case, these parentheses actually don't help at all. What I want to remember to do is combine like terms. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write addition of the opposite so I'm going to change that to plus a negative 4 and plus a negative 7. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my like terms. So 2x squared plus 5x plus negative 7. This is standard form. The highest exponent goes first. So I have these. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here. I have negative 4x squared (6x) and 3. So remember, I have taken away all the subtraction. I've changed it to negatives, and now I'm just going to add. So that's negative 2x squared, 11x, and negative 4. Notice I have plus signs between all of them. Notice I'm not changing the variables at all, because I'm just combining my like terms. And I write it in standard form. The highest exponent goes first. Let's look at number 2. Okay, this time I'm going to do it without writing it vertically this way. So it doesn't matter which way you do it, but both ways can be helpful. I am going to rewrite everything. So here, minus 5 to plus a negative 5, so I'm not confused by that. That's the most common mistake. I recommend rewriting it. Okay, so now that I have it rewritten, what I need to do is I need to find my like terms, and I'm going to start with whatever is the highest exponent first. So I have y to the third and another y to the third. So here's 1. It's understood 1. 1 plus 2, 3y to the third. So remember, that's understood that that's 1. Okay, so now I'm looking for things that are y to the second. And this is the only one that I have, so I can write it here. Now I'm looking for y to the first power. I have a negative 4 and a positive 3, which makes a negative 1y. And now I'm down to my constant terms. I have a negative 5 and a positive 8, which makes 3. It's in standard form. I start with the highest exponent first, and I go in decreasing order. Okay, let's look at number 3. Number 3 is a little bit different because I have a subtraction sign, and this is in parentheses. So be very careful when you do this. I'm going to rewrite this. Okay, so I have that part here. What you need to pay attention to, I always want to just do addition all the time. So I'm going to use addition, but because of this minus sign, I need to change the signs of everything here. So this is a negative 4x now, because it was a positive. This is a positive 5. It was a negative 5. And a negative 3x squared. It was a positive, now it's a negative. So notice how I've changed that. Change the sign because you have to take distributive property to all of those. That's only the case when you have a term in parentheses and a negative sign out front. Now I'm going to look for my like terms. X to the second and x to the second. So that makes negative x to the second. Here's a negative 2x, here's a negative 4x. So negative 6x. And 5 and 3 is 8. Answer is written in standard form. This is probably the most commonly missed thing. When you see that minus, change the sign of everything. I am separating everything by a plus sign. I don't have subtraction anymore. Change the subtractions to negative signs. Okay, last one. Here's a similar example. I'm just going to rewrite the entire thing. 7p plus 4p to the third plus negative 8. I'm always using plus. Plus. I'm going to change all of these signs. Positive 3p squared. Positive 2. Negative 9p. So all of them have to be changed because of the parentheses and the minus sign. Now I just look at your like terms. That's the only cubed. Here's a squared, here's a squared. Notice everything is separated by a plus sign. 7p. And then negative 8, positive 2, negative 6.